Welcome to another tutorial video, guys. You might have seen this short I posted a few days ago where I explained how to make a cart in just 1 minute. This video will be a bit longer and will explain how to make a horse cart every step of the way. This time it will be a little slower so you guys can hopefully keep up more easily. This is just going to be a chill video filmed in the Honey family. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and if you have requests for future videos or just want to chat a bit about 2 Hours One Life, leave a comment. We start off our life near the cow pen, where we feed baby cows a bowl of dried corn so they can grow up. Once they're big, we lead them outside the pen with a rope and shoot them with bow and arrow. We remove the arrow and get another cow to kill. You see here that my arrow broke, so I'll be looking for a stick to fix that arrow. If you leave the broken arrow on the floor, it despawns. And we don't want to go through the trouble of making another arrow, okay? So if you find that you don't know how to make a bow and arrow, do check out my hunting video. You also notice I'm picking up a knife that looks broken. To fix that knife, you need to use a file on it. I'm struggling to find the proper steel file now. For some reason, it's in the glassmaking building. Oh well. I'll be using that knife a lot for processing the leather and cutting up the meat. Now once we're back with the cow, we can use the knife to detach the skin. Then we put the skin on an empty spot and slice it in two. Now we can attach it to our drying rack. Every cow gives us 2 pieces of skin, which means that for this particular setup of drying racks, we can kill 3 cows at a time and we'll get 6 pieces of leather when it's done. This is quite a lot, but we're not just making one horse cart today, we're gonna make as many as we can for the Honey family, which is always in need of more. Keeping your working area clear is not just good advice they give in real-life kitchens. It also applies to 2 Hours One Life. So what you see me doing here is moving the meat to the kitchen. In the kitchen, the chefs can cook it up in the oven. Beef is a great yum, and it's an even better yum if it's processed into steak pie or onion and steak pie. Do you also see how fast I am because I'm able to use a horse cart for this? This is why having horse carts for everyone who's working in the family is such an important part of the game, and why it's frowned upon if people take one of the few remaining horse carts to go exploring. And when it's a newbie, you'll sometimes also see they never return those horses because they just have no idea what to do in the game. I will agree with everyone who says I should be putting baskets in my horse cart to save me on a few of these trips. I have only 4 spots available in this horse cart, which is why you see me load up 4 pieces of meat each time. But if I had 4 baskets, I could put 3 pieces of meat in each basket, which would mean I'd be able to carry 12 meat with me at a time. So if I take in baskets, these 3 trips could have been condensed into 1. I think it's very important to always make sure you have a good amount of livestock available in your animal pens. It sets a good example to the other players in your town. This is why I'm breeding more cows now. As you see, this town has the dried corn stacked up in sacks, and they keep those sacks in the corner of the pen. Very handy. If you're wondering why there are stacks of hay in the other corners of the pen, that's just decoration. Cows do not eat hay in this game. But playing in a cow pen that's aesthetically pleasing to watch is so much nicer. If you're wondering why I took some shears and headed to the sheep pen to shear them when I'm working on leather for making saddles, well, the answer is simple. I'll use this wool as thread for my needle. Next up, I wanted to get started on the horse carts. I took a butt-log with me to saw them in discs, but my mom distracted me. She wanted to repair her nearly broken shears, but you can't repair anything unless you have scrap steel, which comes from broken steel tools. Luckily, there was a broken steel tool near the cow pen, which I saw there earlier, so I was glad I could help my mom with that. I like helping people whenever I can, and fixing shears with a broken steel tool is one of the best things you can do in the game, since shears require 2 steel if you want to make new ones, but only half a steel if you fix them. Upon my return, the leather had dried. I stacked them up and continued my previous work, moving cows outside of the cow pen, killing them with bow and arrow, using a knife to skin them, cutting the skin in two, and hanging the skin up to dry. And obviously I would not forget to move the meat into the kitchen, just in case anyone wanted to try their hand at cooking. I think cooking raw meat is good for people who are new to the game and want to practice the speed with which they cook. If ever you wonder, why am I so slow and other people so quick when they are cooking? Well, the answer is simple. They have practiced more. Though there might be a secondary answer to that is just as valuable. Some people use keyboard instead of their mouse to play the game. I use a combination of keyboard and mouse, which makes me super speedy in most of the things I do. Keyboard controls are not enabled by default, but you can enable them if you go to settings and then click controls. You'll find that option there. It's very simple. I hope you have fun trying that out. I wanted to get some more wool so I could make needle and threads. Needle and thread gives you about 7 thread in total to use on making saddles and bridles. To make the lassos, I'd use cotton. 2 cotton balls would make a lasso. You need 2 lassos per horse, 1 to attach a horse to a fence and 1 to make the bridle, so 4 cotton balls would be enough for 1 horse. You see me use the shears on the cotton ball to make 2 threads, and then I'll combine those threads into a rope, and I would combine those 2 ropes into 1 lasso. Next I check where the horses are. Apparently there are 4 horses around the lake. Beautiful location for them, no? I chase one of the horses down with my lasso and bring it to a fence where I can attach it safely. I secretly like seeing how my mom is teaching a new player about wool and making clothes in the background. I repeat that process, but this time I get a white horse, just for a variety. After what feels like forever, we're finally ready to make our first horse and cart. I get 2 cotton, make cotton balls at the spinning wheel, and return to my working zone to make a lasso out of those. Then I slice 3 pieces of leather in two. I combine 4. Then I separate the other 2 and cut those in 2 again. Combine 4.5 leather to the right and add the lasso to the 2 tiny bits on the left. The leather that remains can be put out of the way for now. Use needle and thread to sew your bridle and your lasso and bring these to your horse. Add saddle first, bridle next, and now all your horse needs is a cart. I wouldn't be me if I wouldn't get distracted first. I decided at this point to go and breed some horses. To do so, you need baskets of apples. These can be found in the orchard in Honeytown. Make sure the apple trees are full, which means they need 5 apples, and that there's also 5 apples in each basket. You can see me skipping the trees that are only half full, but I do pick the fruit off of those trees so that the apples have a chance to regrow. I've put the remaining white and black horse in the goose pen, just so they don't run off. Breeding them is easy, just give them a full basket of apples and wait. The baby horses will remain where they are until you give them a basket of apples. Then they grow up and they can be bred again to get more baby horses. In this case, I decided to get more babies instead of big ones, so I gave more apples to the big horses and not to the tiny ones. I found the flint-tipped bow drill near the smithy and took it to my working zone. I'd already laid out 4 discs earlier, and there were 2 sledges that Eve had moved out of the way in a previous life. I could combine those to make the carts, and so I drilled holes in the discs and added 2 discs per sledge. Also, check how much leather I'd gotten in the meantime. I moved the carts to the horses and attached them. Finally, at the in-game age of nearly 40 years, I had finished my first 2 horse carts. But, to be honest, I had done so much more. I had bred cows, fed sheep to get wool, harvested cotton, bred horses with baskets of apples, supplied the kitchen with easily about 40 pieces of meat, and more. And with all the leather I had gathered, I would move so much faster for the next horse carts I wanted to make. I started moving the horses towards the kitchen. Next to the kitchen there was a spot for unused horses. Finally, my family could use these horses for all their work. It would also be good to tell you now that these horses could still be upgraded at this point. You could add rubber wheels to them. Rubber is an entirely new lesson on its own though. If you're interested in learning how to process rubber, let me know and I could always make a video. I'm also interested to know if new players prefer these longer, slower videos, or if you would rather have a short that you could play over and over again until you got it right. Let me know, okay? Finally, I want to conclude this video with the info on how to make a cart, which I also taught you guys in my short. This version will be a bit slower though, in case you could not keep up before. I start by laying out all the materials. So, my character will explain what these items are. A rope, a shaft, 2 butt lugs, a froe, it can be bronze or steel, doesn't matter. A bow saw, once again, bronze or steel doesn't matter. A mallet, and a flint-tipped bow drill. Then you add the froe to the butt log, you hit it with a mallet, next you add a rope to those boards, and this makes a box. And to that box you add a shaft, that makes a sledge. Then you saw the butt log, and you separate two of those discs. You can use discs to make buckets too, but not if you drill a hole in them, which is what we are doing now. Then these two holes are what you need to add to the sledge, and that makes the cart. Done. In total, I played about an hour in Honey Farm That Life, and I made about 5 horse carts while providing the leather for at least twice that amount. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe, it would really mean a lot to me. I hope you have a fantastic day, and I hope to see you soon in 2 Hours, 1 Life. Bye now!